Hey guys, wanted to make a quick video on a new deck that I've been testing as a potential alternative to Sakazuki if we do see those bans come through in the West at the start of OP06, or even if we don't, as a potential alternative if you're trying something fun and want a semi-competitive deck that can hold its own against the meta. So we have starter 3 Croc here. If you don't know what he does, he can -4 Dawn to return a character with cost of 5 or less back to the owner's hand. So really, really powerful effect. Very good in the late game when you can kind of afford to go down 4 Dawn as a blue leader. Not so much useful in the early game, but we have a lot of things to kind of get us to the late game in a good spot and really ensure that we have a huge advantage over our opponent in those final few turns. So this deck is based around one card specifically, Sanji. So Sanji is the secret rare, or one of the secret rares for OP06. And if you don't know what he does, he can reveal the top card of your deck. And if it's a character that costs 9 or less, you can play that card on the field directly. So really, really powerful effect if you know what's coming next in your deck. And good thing for us, we are playing blue. We will almost always know what is coming next in our deck. So we run 12 cards that help us do that. We run 4 of the Peronas, which is a really cool combo that you can play on 10 Dawn with Sanji. So if you've never, set up the top of your deck the entire game, if you have a Perona and a Sanji and 10 Dawn, you can just do this combo, and it's really, really nice. And then we have Doflamingo, and then we have X-Drake. So we really have a card to play on every step of our curve, a 1-drop, a 3-drop, and a 5-drop that can help us ensure that we're like seeing the next 5 cards that we want to see, which is really, really cool. In terms of what would you play off Sanji, there's a lot of options. Obviously, the best one, Mihawk. Mihawk is so, so good. So playing a 9-drop 9K and then playing a 9-drop 9K that removes a 7 or less in one turn is just an insane turn. And then on top of that, you could use the ability from Crocodile to get a 5 or less off the board. So you can get double removal and then have 2 9-drop 9Ks on the board. And then you'll be at, if you played this on your 9 Dawn turn, you would be at 7 Dawn on the next turn, which is a good amount of Dawns to go for game. So really, really powerful. If you don't have Mihawk, you have some alternatives. You have Borsalino, which is not as good in Crocodile as he is in Sakazuki, but a 4 or less is still really powerful. These are your Kiko Nojos, these are your Ryumas, these are Crackers, Sanjis, Lucci's, Rebecca's, Hina's. So there's a lot of cards that Borsalino can hit. It's not, the amazing card that it is when you pair it with Great Eruption and Ice Age and things like that, but it's still a really, really good card, especially if you get to play it for free with Sanji's ability. And if you don't have Borsalino, you do have Sogeking, which is a 6 or less back to the hand, which is not as good as bottom of the deck, but still a nice card, but also gives you cycle. And then sometimes in like really bad scenarios, I can play the Sanji into the X-Drake, which gives me a nice blocker, and then use leader ability to remove an attacker off the board. And that kind of gives me some good establishment of characters as well. So that's pretty much the strategy. We have Tashigi to help us search for cards. So if we don't see our X-Drake, or if we need 2Ks, that's what Tashigi is for. We have Charlotte Pudding for certain matchups. So if you're playing against an NL or someone else that just has a huge hand size, this Pudding is insane. Like you can wipe 5 cards out of someone's hand for 4 Dawn. It's so, so good. It's really nice 2 of. And then we have some other Navy card just to kind of get us the late game pretty safely. So Hina will help us draw a card, replace herself, put some pressure on the board. Garp helps us cycle. Kaya helps us cycle. And then also Gion, which I don't think has as much use in OP06, but is a nice 2K that you can play if you have no characters to play on your 5 Dawn turn. And then lastly, we do run 2 Red Rocks and 2 Gum Gum Rains. The Gum Gum Rains are just kind of give some more survivability, but the Red Rocks are for some big drops that we can't take care of with Mihawk, like Moria, like 10-drop Doflamingo, like Yamato, like Katakuri, 10-drop Big Mom. So it is good to kind of see one of these in your hand in those matches that may run those cards. Also really good against 8-drop Kid, which we know is kind of making a resurgence in OP06. So overall, the deck has been really fun. I've had kind of mixed results, some good runs, some bad runs, made a lot of tweaks. And so I will be testing this deck again tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, if you see this video on the 7th. And we'll see how we do. Maybe we can get some ranked games in. And I think it's a pretty fun list. I did want to very briefly shout out another list that I was working on if it's more interesting to you. I'm not going to do any gameplay for it today, but it is a list I've been tweaking and working on. It's a Pacifista engine list. So very similar, uses the Navy searchers, and then goal is to get Sentomaru out, get value with Sentomaru to play Pacifistas, and then ultimately bounce things back, similar to kind of how this deck played in OP04, with the additions of Borsalino, which is a new card, and the Navy searchers to kind of help the consistency a little bit. So this is a different version. I think this version actually has been performing a little bit worse because it's just really hard to compete with a lot of the on-play removal that we see out of Sakazuki and Moria, and then even Perona. and even Reiju to some extent with the ability to play the 7k rush card for only 4 Dawn. So there's just a lot of value that a lot of other meta decks are getting from on play. And so the Sentimaru package just doesn't stick out as much. It's a lot better to have this kind of really big top end that's harder for anyone to deal with. And basically just stall the game out, keep a really high life total, get to this top end, and then you ideally just win the game in the next couple of turns by swinging, 9k 4 times. But yeah, that's the plan. I didn't want to just show the other list in case you guys wanted to try it out, but this is the list we're primarily focusing on for now. And so let's dive into some games, see how we do, and go from there. Okay, we are playing here against a red-purple Law who's really, really strong in OP06. This has been a very tough matchup when I've played it out. And so our goal here is just going to be to stall things out until we can get our big bodies on the board. First thing we want to do here is figure out what we want to draw next turn. 2Ks are really good here, so I might keep there, but I also might grab this pudding just to be able to kind of cancel out what's in this hand if he draws too much. So we're going to do the pudding, and then we are going to be playing our Doflamingo next turn and bottom decking everything most likely, or potentially the Hina here just to draw an extra card. So yeah, I think we'll play the Hino and we'll do Doflamingo in a couple turns. But this match is really, really tough. They have so much removal. The Reiju in this deck just completely turns everything around, because in OP05, when you played against this deck, you could just go for board and really just drain all their resources and then ultimately go for game when they had no cards in hand. But in OP06, they will always have more cards in hand. The amount of times I've seen them be at like 3 cards and play a Reiju, and now they have 5 cards, it's really, really rough. And then obviously they have the 5-drop Kid, which has been around since OP05. But the number of resources they have is growing and growing, and the new film card Max that acts as like a Gordon is just like one more really strong resource that they have access to. So it's tough. It's really, really tough. So we got a couple of options here. I think we will do this 5k, try to put the pressure on. $5k. If we can get them to dump cards, we're in a good spot. Toshigi to get our 2k, and I think here is where we play Doflamingo. And really nothing here that we want to see. So we're going to place this on the bottom. We'll use Perona in a subsequent turn to get essentially the ordering of cards that we want. We haven't seen any Sanjis or Mihawks yet, so not ideal. I'll drop a 1k here, force a second attack into there. The more we can keep our life up, the better we are in this matchup. If we go down too low, we're gonna really, really struggle. Ideally, I would like to play Perona and see that I'll have a turn. I'll be able to draw my Sanji on my 9-Dawn turn and then play something good right after. Because I don't want to use either of these 1Ks, let's just do a 2K and do one more attack into the Hina. So there's the Kid, there's the Gordon. This combo is really, really dirty. And then plays the Zoro, I'm guessing. Beppo, okay. But he does get a card back. We do want to keep some cards in hand. So I can play this and then do a 6k and a 7k. I think that makes sense. Okay, so this is perfect. This is actually amazing. So this is our 7-Dawn turn. So next turn we want to draw this. And then immediately play that. And then I think a Hino would be good to draw the X Drake. Perfect. All right, so we actually have a good setup here. I think we want to kill this Zorojuro if we can. Nice, and then maybe we kill the Shachi Penguin. So I think at this point the name of the game is just outlasting him. He has like a really strong board. He's able to use his leader ability and then get a Don back with Kid and then Beppo, so his leader ability is basically free. Yep, he's even running the combos out, and then there's the Reiju. Exactly what I was saying. He was down to 2 cards in hand. He is now at 4 with a full board, so it's really, really bad for us. Not what we want to see. In terms of what we're going to bottom deck, I think we'll bottom deck the Beppo. That's probably the best thing for us. Let's get rid of some 1Ks. I don't think we need the pudding. They already only have 4 cards in hand. Okay. And then they got the Shuriya. Okay. All right, so here's the play. Well, first I think let's swing into the Beppo. Nice. We play our Sanji. We're going to deploy. In that case, I think maybe we bottom deck the Shuriya because it gets a lot of value. It can now kind of use these as attackers. And then I don't love doing this, but we're going to put a 2K back in his hand because I don't want to give him the Reiju. The Reiju will give him more cards, and that's the last thing we want. And so now we have a pretty healthy hand size. We have a really nice board. It's going to be very hard for him to remove this board. It does seem like he might just go for game here. Okay, never mind. There's the Zoro, 7K. We don't want to go down to 0 life just quite yet. But I think another Zoro is going to come down. Oh, it's a law blocker. Okay. And then there's the Zoro. Oh, right. So we have a couple of options here. I think the best thing to do is just use our ability right off the bat and swing 7 and then go 9-9 and hope for the best. We know he has a 2K in his hand, so if he has a 1K, we're in trouble. But I don't think we can win otherwise. So I think we have to do it like this. Yep, and I think that, yeah, I think we just lose because we know what's in his hand. It's a 2K and a 1K, so we have to do 8, we have to do 8, and then we have to do 9. And then he probably has the counter now. Oh, we got a little lucky there. He had the 2K, 1K. He drew some bricks, so we did get a little lucky there. But we did pull through, which is really, really nice. I will say he did see 3 Zoros, which is very good. Like, this deck runs no searchers, and they almost always see all their pieces, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if it's kind of like the Simluck thing or just like a very consistent deck overall because they have a lot of pieces that are good. But he did see 3 Rush Zoros, and he saw his Kid, and he saw his Reiju, so he had a good game for sure. I will say the one thing I might have done differently is I could have potentially countered out, or not countered out what I did, gone down to 0 and let him and see, just to kind of see if he would go all in with Zoro. Because if he didn't play that law, we would have been in a much better spot. But overall, like, pretty good game. Like, we had it. I think this is one of our toughest matchups, and so the fact that we won is a really, really good start to the video. And let's see what other matches we can get. Okay, another really good matchup. This is Moria. You're all going to be super familiar with Moria by the end of this set. And so we have a pretty good opening hand here. I think getting Mihawk in your hand isn't always ideal because you do want to play him off Sanji, but if you don't see the Sanji, it's a good backup, and we have Hina. So it's like a nice first turn for us. I think we will pick up let's draw. I think we want our 2Ks. So let's draw Garp next turn. Let's play Hina and get the X Drake. So maybe like this. And then these other cards will probably end up bottom decking when we play the X Drake. Okay. The Borsalino is really good to have in your hand. Mihawk, you would like to play off Sanji, but Borsalino, if you can play it on curve, it's really nice. So you kind of Borsalino on 7 Dawn, and then you Sanji into Mihawk on 9 Dawn, which is like a really good combination. All Right, Absalom is in the trash. It's probably going to come down next turn, and I'm guessing he will kill either the Hina or the Perona if he can find a way to minus this. The Borsellino's good in this matchup also because obviously when you kill things, Moria's just going to get them back with his leader ability, and so bottom decking them instead is always a really good alternative, which is I think what makes blue strong in general in OP06. Sakazuki's just a little better with it because he has Houndblaze. Unfortunately, Houndblaze is useless for Crocodile. Unless you're thinking of running into many Zoros, there won't be a lot of use cases where a 2 or less is something you want to remove. So we do get the Absalom out, popping the Perona, and then we will take that. So we have a nice healthy amount of 2Ks in our hand right now. Once more, we will play the X-Drake, and then we'll be able to actually bottom deck the Absalom or Borsellino if that comes out. Ice Age is gone. That's actually really good for us because we play a lot of top end. And so I think let's bottom deck this and hopefully start finding our Sanji or something like that. But if we don't find him, we have a good 7 and 9 Dawn turn, which is really, really good. Red Rock is good in this matchup. When we run into the Moria, we have something to do against that Moria, but for now, no Red Rock. He had a second Absalom in his hand, unfortunately, which means we are going to take a 7k here. And there is our Sanji. Now we just need to set the top of our deck how we want, and then we're good to go. We did take that, which means we could do this. And we should be... I'm guessing a Moria is going to come out now. But with 8 Dawn, there's no way he can get this Borsellino down to 2 for the Absalom to pop it off. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. And we could play our Mihawk and then just start going face with our large bodies. All right, no Moria is really, really good for us here. Okay, there is the Ice Age, but that's the second one. So he's running low. And this Absalom, we can absolutely bottom deck. And then next turn, maybe we Borsellino Doflamingo, which gives us a blocker and can set up a Sanji for the following turn. Overall, I think we're doing okay. We're like pretty low life. I think you would like to be a bit higher life at this stage, but he was going 7k almost every turn, which is really hard to deal with. So that was a bit unfortunate. But at this point, I think unless he goes like 9k in, we can counter out and then start playing blockers and hopefully kind of set up a really strong like couple of turns with our Doflamingo. All right, so we do think a Moria is coming down now. He went 6. He did not use leader ability. Ice Age. Third Ice Age. Perona. Not a Moria. Rob Lucci. So he is like out of cards. This is just an absolutely bonkers hand. The fact that he saw all 3 Ice Ages, but you know, sometimes he has it. We are gonna Borsellino that Lucci, so that's okay. And then we're gonna have a really nice turn in a... So let's draw our 2k. Yep, and then we're gonna have a really nice turn next turn. I would like to send the Perona back to hand or something, but it's a little risky. So we are just gonna have to use our blocker here and maybe take 1 hit. There's the Sabo, which will be getting bottom decked. So I'm feeling really good about this game. The combo here is really, really nice. So 6k, we will counter out with Kaya, and then I'm guessing 7, play the Absalom back or the Hog back, maybe the Hina. Hog back. And then he gets... Which did he get back? Sent Sewer to deck bottom. Dr. Hogback sent Absalom to deck bottom from trash, then Hogback. What card did he not tell you? Trash Sabo, kick Moria, trash 2 cards from deck, kick Moria, Hogback from trash, Dr. Hogback sent Absalom to deck bottom from trash, sent Sewer to deck bottom from trash. I don't know what he picked up. Okay. Alright, so here's how we're going to play this. We're going to do 6k into the Perona. We're going to do 8k at life. We're going to do 9, 9. And we're actually just going to put this back in his hand. He can use it again if he wants. I'm not concerned about that. What I don't want is 2 attacks when I'm at 2 life. And so I think we're in a really good spot. This is the kind of ideal play for this deck. It's super, super fun. I honestly, being able to play Sanji into Mihawk is one of the most satisfying combos that I have done in One Piece. Obviously, if you're playing Reiju and you get the whole Judge combo out, that's really cool too, and probably feels even better. But this is just like a really, really nice play. And 8 Dawn, I think we might see the Moria come down. I will actually counter out. I think it puts us in a pretty rough card spot, but does actually give us 2 life to work with, which is really important. And I think we'll just start going 9 here. So 9. So 9. So 6 can go up to 11, so let's do 10. And then I don't think he gets out of this. Let's do 11. All right, GG. GG. He wants a rematch. I'm not going to record that one because I don't want to make this video too long. But if you liked this deck and you think it's interesting, check me out on Twitch and YouTube tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be doing some more streaming of this. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.